How's it going, Matt McNeil? I'm not coming to you from the garage. I'm actually coming to you from my foyer because I thought that I would talk a little bit about this Creepshow Creep. But this is not the Creepshow Creep that you think it is. This is actually the second version. The first version, I made a latex mask that was based on my skull mask, and then had a latex and paper towel buildup. So it was like an organic sculpt on top of a latex mask that I sold at Mask Fest. And so it's a one of one. I probably will never do another one like it. So hopefully that makes that one super rare if anyone happens to care about my stuff. But yeah, so that's a one of one that'll never happen again. But it gave me the idea that maybe I could try that same latex buildup technique on a 3D printed skull. And this is a latex buildup technique. All of the skin that you see here is paper towels and liquid latex. And it's a buildup in the same style as the latex version that I did. Eyes are for seal. This one I actually built an additional hand for, which I thought was a cool addition. And this inspired me because of the reception that I got on this guy to maybe do something that was easier to reproduce in regard to the skin. Because these latex buildups are kind of not repeatable specifically, and they take a lot of time, and they're, it's like re-sculpting every one. So if you've been following any of my videos or stills that I posted on Instagram and Facebook, you've seen that Raoul skull sculpt that I did. Now, what I did was I took a skull, I 3D printed it. I altered it, as you've probably seen in some of my other videos. I altered it in my 3D software so that it was more Raoul-like. And then I printed it, and then I filled in all of the undercuts with clay, and then I sculpted the skin. So that was the next version of this. But in order to do that, in order to create these and those, I ended up having to 3D print pieces in order to make that happen. Now, this isn't just a skull that's 3D printed. This is a chest piece and a hand, and the top half of the head and the lower jaw are two different pieces. And this is what that looks like, right? So you end up with a head, rib cage, bottom jaw, and this is the hand I'm currently experimenting with. What's also kind of nice about this is the way that this is built. It's hard for me to turn because it's no grip on the bottom, but the way that this is built, the head will actually can turn on that upright there, so that I can properly orient his gaze so that he's not specifically looking straight ahead. And I thought that this video in particular, I would talk about the 3D printing part of this. For those of you who are not familiar with 3D printers, let me show you. We had guests over Christmas, so I ended up having to move my 3D printer into the dining room. But this skull just printed. So this is a skull and lower jaw. I have not removed it yet. There we go. That's what it looks like when it prints. Let me set this here on this dinner plate. And then this is the bottom jaw. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Yeah, there we go. Now, what you see here are supports. And in order for a 3D printer to print something like this, that's odd shaped, that doesn't sit flat on the plate, and in this case, you don't want it to sit flat on the plate because then you'd end up with flat areas on the bottom, you print it with what you call printer supports. And these supports just snap right off, and then if they leave a little extra behind, you can scrape them off or sand them off and finish it that way. But that's what the bottom skull looks like. This is a more complicated print. So look at all of those supports, and all of those supports are going to come right off. They snap off. They some of them are more difficult than others, but the contact points are pretty small, which allows you to just kind of break those things free. And before you know it, you have a skull like that one sitting right over there. Once you do that, I'm actually getting ready to start a print in here of that chest piece, and then I'll print the hand. This piece in particular took, I want to say, almost 30 hours to print for the top of the head and the lower jaw. The chest piece probably, if I remember correctly, takes about 13 hours, and a hand I think takes about 9 hours. So you're looking at a week's worth of full-on 3D printing in this machine, and this happens to be a Bamboo X1 Carbon. Fantastic machine. If you're looking to get into 3D printing, look at Bamboo. They do some great stuff. This one is the current top of the line, but you don't have to go crazy like this because this one prints in color. This one does all kinds of crazy things. But for the money, even for the A1 or the P1 or the P1S, those are all amazing machines. They're, I don't want to say foolproof because, anything is possible with the right fool, but they're kind of foolproof. They do a really great job. All the problems I've ever had really with printing something have all been my fault. So this machine is spectacular. So anyway, let me show you just before we are done what my final deal looks like. What that?
Garage door open.
Welcome to the mess. There's the scanners guy. A lot of you guys keep asking me about that. I know. I'm going to make them old. So anyway, so this was the second variation on the hand. The other hand was a right hand. This one is a left hand. So I printed this one. And then the third variation of this hand is one that has got a little bit of an angle to it. And I have not corpsed it out yet. This is just a skeleton hand. I go back with latex and toilet paper, tissue paper, whatever, and kind of corpse it out. Actually, maybe I'll make a video about that too, because there's another thing that I'm working with here that maybe some of you guys don't know about. But anyway, yeah, these are really cool, I think. It's going to be a nice little addition to this guy because it gives you that, kind of beckoning creeper look. As you can see, he still has temp eyes in. I'm waiting on final eyes from For Seal. I talked to Tim this morning, and they are very, very close. But as you can see, this is a sculpted piece and not a build-up piece. Now, there's something to be said for both, and I totally get it. But this one's going to be reproducible exactly like that over and over and over again, which is fantastic. So anyway, there you go. 3D printing and working that into your prop or mask workflow is always a very possible solution. And this technology is getting cheaper and cheaper and better and more reliable by the day. The stuff that they're coming out with is not the headache that it used to be. If you're worried about, I just don't know if I could figure out a 3D printer, trust me, you can. There are a million videos on YouTube that will tell you whatever your problem is, somebody else has had it, and they can tell you how to fix it. So, yeah, anyway. This 3D printer stuff is awesome, and yeah, I'm going to get back to it just as soon as my day job is over. I will be back out here in the garage working on some creeps. Talk to you guys soon.